What's going on, everybody? This is Josh, back again with another video on Tech and Ish. Now, today I want to talk about Titans. I don't know if you guys are actually watching Titans. This is something I'm actually watching. The first episode is what got me hooked because of the fact of it's not your average superhero show. It's like they're doing things a lot different. They're actually killing people. They're cussing on this show. They're showing a lot of blood. Like, this show is actually really good. Now, there is certain episodes that are like, it's pretty stupid, but most of them, they're actually really good. And this one episode is possibly my favorite one yet. They end up introducing Superboy. Now, I don't really know that much stuff about Superboy. All I know is that he was made after Superman died from Doomsday. Doomsday basically killed Superman. And they kind of took like some of his DNA and they fused it with Lex Luthor's DNA, and somehow they created Superboy. Now, in this episode, they kind of do talk about it a little bit on how there was a bunch of trials on trying to get Superboy made, and a lot of them started dying, or a lot of them were just not created very well. And the main reason why is because they were just using Superman's DNA. And I believe her name was Watson. She ends up saying, you need to use a person's DNA. And Lex ends up using his own DNA. And that ends up creating Superboy. So, I don't know. Maybe I always thought he was Superman's son. But maybe he's both of their sons, since he kind of has like the same DNA. But they're kind of making it seem like he's just a clone. So, if you remember the last episode that just happened, Robin 2.0, he basically looks like he was about to die. He ends up falling down, and I knew Superboy was going to come into this series for this season because I saw it on kind of like their poster, but I didn't know which one it was going to be. I was waiting for them to bring him out because I want to see how they're going to actually do this. I was hoping that they did not mess it up, and man, they did not mess this thing up. This episode was good. It hardly had any of the Titans. They can actually just make an episode of Superboy or make a season of Superboy, and I think it'll be really good. In my opinion, it kind of gave off a little bit of a Smallville kind of vibe, but you know, you can't beat Smallville. So this episode was actually really good. So let's talk more about it. So Superboy really doesn't know that much. They end up saying that he's kind of like a little kid trapped in kind of like a grown-up's body. I don't know if he's a teenager or a young adult, but he kind of has the mindset of a little kid, but he also has memories of Lex Luthor, and he also has memories of Superman. He ends up getting tested on in one of Lex Luthor's facilities, and he escapes. The main reason why is because he ends up hearing a dog getting hurt, and you know, you end up seeing him walk into that dog, and it ends up being Crypto. Now, I didn't know that they were going to end up bringing Crypto in this TV show, but I was actually glad that they did. I mean, I even have like a pop of him too. Let me see. See? I got a pop of Crypto, so I was actually glad that they brought him into this. So Connor ends up escaping. He ends up kind of like walking. I believe he's walking to Metropolis, maybe. And he's basically just trying to figure out where he's supposed to go, or try to find his way. He ends up kind of like grabbing a t-shirt that had a Superman symbol on it. And it's like the exact Superman shirt that Superboy wears in the comics. He doesn't know anything about, you know, how things work and how you have to pay for certain things. And it looks like, I thought that Superboy was abused. I don't know why. I just thought that because it had a flashback where there's this old guy who was about to hit him. And, you know, Superboy kind of like, you know, went like this, basically saying, oh, don't hit me, don't hit me. So I thought maybe it was a flashback of him getting abused as he was a little kid, because of course, like I said, I don't really know that much stuff about Superboy. Superboy is able to get the money to pay for that shirt. He ends up wearing it, and he starts walking to the only place he can actually think of in his head, because he's constantly having memories or flashbacks, and it ends up being a farm. Now, I thought that it was going to be the Kent farm that he was going to, but it turns out he was going to Lex Luthor's farm. which made no sense to me because I come from watching Smallville, and in Smallville, Lex Luthor doesn't own a farm. I mean, he did pay for Jonathan's farm, but then Jonathan paid him back for it. So, you know, I was kind of like, what's going on? Why does he have a farm? And on top of that, why is his dad living in there? Because his dad is supposed to be this guy who has a lot of money. So why is he living in this farm? It looks like the dad is either a little bit blind, or maybe has some like Alzheimer's. I don't know. But he just kind of looks like he doesn't know what's going on. So Lex has his own security team who they're trying to get Superboy back. They end up going to that farm to try to see if they can actually get him back. Now, one thing kind of like got me a little bit confused is how are they tracking him? Is it his powers that kind of like light up on a scanner, or do they have a microchip in him? Maybe that's something I missed. The only time I actually left my eyes on the screen is when I actually saw Superboy fighting the security team. And check this out. This was actually really cool. They end up hitting him over the head, but it really doesn't do anything. He basically just like jerks his head a little bit, and that's about it. And then from there, he just starts tearing every single one of them up. He starts punching them. He starts like blowing his wind at them. Some of this part is actually really cool. You should check it out. It's really good. So I kind of had the feeling that Connor really doesn't know that much about his abilities. I think he's learning as he's going, but it seems like he's able to control them really good. I think the only issue he has is trying to control his anger. But other than that, he controlled it really good. And he actually, I think he kills all of these security guards. You see him pushing a guy through a wall. Now this one scene, I thought that was actually really cool. It ends up involving Crypto. There's this guy outside who ends up shooting a rocket launcher at Superboy. And I thought maybe he was just going to catch it and throw it back. It turns out Crypto jumps up, grabs that rocket, turns it around, and then shoots it back at that guy. I thought that was actually pretty cool, at the fact that a dog did that. So Superboy ends up realizing that Miss Watson is in the car, and he basically goes to her and he's trying to ask her what's his story. He's trying to find out where he comes from, who's made him, and he wants to know things about him. And she actually shows him a little bit of the things that happened. She shows him the experiments of everything that goes into it, and he gets pissed. And I think that's the whole Lex Luthor side that's in him, and that's why he gets pissed. So I think he's trying to control that, but it's not really working out that well. The only thing that's actually good about it is the fact that he actually likes to help people. The main reason why he's doing all this is because of Superman's genes. He has that willingness in him of wanting to help people, which I think is going to overcome that rage once he get it under control. So I was actually waiting for them to introduce some type of kryptonite. And you see one of the agents end up putting like a bullet of kryptonite inside her gun. And if you remember from the last one, Robin was falling down, and it turns out Superboy was the one who helped Robin. He caught him. I guess he doesn't know how to fly yet. He just jumps pretty high. He catches him, and they fall on top of the car. From there, he ends up getting shot by that agent. See, and that's one thing I don't get. How are they finding him? I don't get that. Maybe I missed it. I don't know. So he ends up getting shot by that agent, and it basically just cuts off there. Now, if Titans continues to introduce Connor into their show, I think this is going to end up being a really good season. Whenever I was watching this thing was trending for so many days that I was like, why is it trending so long? Until I actually clicked on the episode, I realized the only reason why is because of Superboy. I think this guy can actually carry his own season, but I don't know. I don't think they'll bring it out. There is one of these fun facts that I did see for Crisis on Earth, that they are bringing Tom Welling back as Superman. Maybe they're bringing him back in time, or I don't know. And I've also read reports that supposedly Michael Keaton is coming into that Crisis as well. I don't know if that's true or not, but if it is, that's going to be pretty cool, because he's going to be the old school Batman. And I actually wanted a Lex Luthor from Smallville. I can't remember his last name. I know his name is like Michael Rossborn or something like that. I wanted him to come back because I don't think anybody can play Lex but this guy. But he said on Twitter that he's not coming back because they don't know like his lines. They don't know what lines to give him. They don't know when he will shoot or how long he needs to be out. And supposedly the money wasn't even worth it. So he decides to decline that offer. But Tom Whelan is going to come back on Crisis on Earth. So I'm actually happy to hear that. And I can't wait for that thing to come out. Now for Titans, I can't wait for the next episode to come out. Hopefully they talk more about Connor. So keep in tune to my channel and we'll see if it's worthy to even talk about it. Comment, like, subscribe. Let me know if there's something you want me to check out. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.